A Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sequel is officially in development, Kotaku confirms, so great news, let's talk about that. Plus we learned about another Star Wars game as well. It's not all good news though. We recently talked about why a new Star Wars game in 2020 could happen, but now we got an update on that really makes you question if EA will still have the exclusivity license after 2023. So really a ton to discuss. Would be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as it shows your support. And let's go. First up, I want to highlight the sponsor of this video. It's the free-to-play RPG Raid Shadow Legends that I still go back to rank up my party and progress through the many dungeons and fight the awesome looking clan boss. I now also got a pretty good arena team, and with that you can fight the champions from other people, and really a lot of area of effect skills are the way to go in this activity. And Blood Twin is really one of my star characters right now, and I'm upgrading him a lot with the amazing gear that I found. And I really like how there are now many ways to get great items. Like, it's really up to you what activity you do and you will be rewarded. There's now also a PC version of the game with cross progression, so you can pick up where you left off. And if you got Amazon Prime, then sign up before March 8th to claim all this content. So totally check the special link in the video description, and if you are a new player, then you also get 200,000 silver and a free support champion, the Grinner. You got 30 days to get these treasures, so hurry up. Again, check the special link in the video description, helps the channel out a lot too. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring the video, and now let's get back into it. Jason Schreier from Kotaku has done some pretty impressive reporting on what is going on behind the scenes at EA with these Star Wars games. It all started with a story behind the ambitious Star Wars game that was in development at Fitzroy Games before that studio got shut down. And this is the only footage that we have of that Star Wars project that was in the works under the leadership of Amy Hennig, who worked on the first 3 Uncharted games. Well, now that game was cancelled and the studio is no more. EA Vancouver would use the art assets from that game to create their own open world Star Wars game codenamed Orca, that then also got cancelled in early 2019 in favor of a smaller scale Star Wars project that is now aimed for much sooner, likely late 2020. So that was the final update that we got in early 2019, but now we learned, thanks to Kotaku, that that game was also cancelled because the development timeline was never realistic. Like again, they started in early 2019 and wanted to release it at the end of 2020, so in like a year and a half. It was supposed to be a spin-off of the Star Wars Battlefront series with open world elements. Sounds interesting and pretty cool, but yeah, we should not expect that game anymore. Luckily, there's still good news though, because at the end of the article, Kotaku confirms that there are 2 new Star Wars games in development at EA, a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order at Respawn, so awesome, and a smaller, more unusual project at EA Motive in Montreal, Canada. They first helped with Battlefront 2, I mostly think they did the campaign, but yeah, curious what they are working on right now. Maybe something for the Nintendo Switch instead of a big console AAA game. That would totally be a more unusual project, right? So pretty interesting that EA does not seem to work on a new Battlefront game and instead will likely support Battlefront 2 even more, but that they are working on a new Jedi Fallen Order. And thanks to US Gamer, we now learned that Respawn did have conversations to maybe delay the game to polish it even more. I played the game on the Xbox One X and still had many frame drops and performance issues, and I think they were even worse likely on other platforms. Like, it totally took you sometimes out of the experience. It was a conversation we had, and we decided that we wanted to get the game out there. We wanted to get it, you know, being out for the holiday. Makes sense, of course, because games sell really well during the holiday period, and launching this new Star Wars game around the new movie and the Mandalorian show helped with the sales too. But yeah, let's hope that the sequel releases in a better state than the original, and that we still have some updates coming to the original to improve the overall quality. But yeah, them releasing the game in the holiday period, while it could have used some more time, gives us a great idea of when we can expect Jedi Fallen Order 2. EA really likes to release these big Star Wars games around a movie, like the first Battlefront was released around Force Awakens, and then Battlefront 2 was released around The Lost Jedi. And we of course saw Jedi Fallen Order around The Rise of Skywalker. The next Star Wars movie will be out at the end of 2022, and that would give Respawn 3 years to develop this sequel, and That should be enough. And this will then also be still before the EA and Star Wars deal can end in 2023, because in 2013 we learned that the deal would last for 10 years. But yeah, I have a hard time believing that Disney wants to continue with that exclusivity deal. At the DICE Summit, where a ton of game developers from all over the world come together, Disney said that they want developers to tell original stories with their popular franchises. So it seems like they want all sorts of developers who have ideas for their properties to come forward instead of having one deal with just one publisher. Because giving the Marvel properties to other developers like Insomniac with Spider-Man and Iron Man VR, and Square Enix is doing Marvel's Avengers, it seems to work. EA only released 3 big Star Wars games in more than 6 years of having the license, and they cancelled just as many. The deal means that EA is the only publisher right now that can make AAA console games. But even without the deal, it could still mean that Respawn can continue to work on Star Wars, but just also that Ubisoft, for example, can make an awesome open world Star Wars game. Something that I think they are totally capable of. The Division studio is now namely hard at work on an Avatar game, so also a Disney property that is pretty far in development, and if that likely turns out well, then I would not be surprised if they got a chance to work on a Star Wars game too. I'm totally curious what developers you want to work on a Star Wars game. Let me know in the comments down below. I personally think that From Software would be very awesome. Sure, Jedi Fallen Order was already kind of Souls inspired, but if From Software would make it, it would likely be more of an RPG like Dark Souls with collectible gear and stuff, and even more challenging of course than Jedi Fallen Order. I think that would be really great, but I'm curious to hear what your pick would be in the comments down below. It will be interesting to follow the EA Star Wars deal, and maybe Disney is already preparing for the future. There was namely a rumor that there would be a Knights of the Old Republic remake coming, but right now Jason does not want to report on that rumor yet, saying that he's not 100% sure about that one yet, and that he will still want to do some reporting on the KOTOR rumor. I will say this though, if it's really happening, it's not at EA. Very interesting, right? So maybe while other developers cannot make new Star Wars games, maybe the deal does exclude like remakes of classics. Either way, it would be awesome if they found a way to re-release those 2 classics with modern graphics. We at least know that a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is coming, and that ending leaves a lot of room for amazing adventures with these characters. When we know more about Jedi Fallen Order 2 or updates to the original, then I will of course let you know here. Totally subscribe if you are new to be the first to know when the news drops. I will also be doing a new mod video very soon, where I also go over the screenshots that you can send me via Twitter at JorRaptor, so keep it locked for that. A like on the video would be super appreciated, and check out my previous video on some of these awesome mods that I discussed before. For now, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.